Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the Four Quarters podcast powered by Four Quarters Media. I'm your host, Tyler Bennett, here with you once again. Belated Happy Canada Day to everybody out there. Hopefully, July 1st was celebrated but safe at the same time. With COVID-19 still out there, you never know what's going to happen. But hopefully, everybody had a great day nonetheless. Episode 10 in Season 2 of the Four Quarters podcast is right now. Part 1 and Part 2 feature athletes going different directions, or opposite directions, if you will, on a map of Canada. Part 1, we have Muktar Mohamed going from the Olds College Broncos in the ACAC to the Nipissing Lakers in the OUA, returning to Ontario. And then in part number 2, which you can catch after this one, which will come out on Friday, July 3rd, will be with new Mount Royal Cougars forward Sierra Peck, who is going from Algonquin in the OCAA to Calgary in Mount Royal. Part number 1 with Muktar, good chat from start to finish, highlighted by having those difficult conversations around racism and the fight against social injustice. And the conversation really centered around a statement that Olds College and the Olds College Broncos made last week. And Muktar shared his stories and his experiences of encountering and dealing with racism as a student athlete at Olds. And without taking too much away from what he shared and he said, when we get to it, we need to do better. Simply put, if there are resources at schools, make them readily available and make sure people know they're there. Because if you have a service and nobody knows about it, that's the exact same thing as not having a service. It doesn't help anything. We looked at his career at Olds on the court. We looked at his experiences again off the court. And then we looked at kind of why he chose Nipissing over some other institutions and what he's most looking forward to, returning back to Ontario and joining the OUA in what is arguably the toughest conference of the four at U Sports. And then we opened it up to Instagram at the end and had some interesting questions come through. So all in all, start to finish, it was a ton of fun and honestly learned a lot, not going to lie. So with that said, let's jump right in. Let's not waste any more time to get to part 1 of episode 10 of the Four Quarters podcast powered by Four Quarters Media with new Nipissing Lakers forward Muktar Mohamed. Enjoy. All right, so I'm now thrilled to be joined by one of the newest members of the Nipissing Lakers, Muktar Mohamed. Muktar, first off, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to do this. We're recording it late. It's Monday night, June 29th. How are things on your end?
Everything's good. Most of my family's asleep right now, so
okay.
I'm not trying to start too much of a ruckus, but
okay.
Everything's good. Just came back from working out, came back from my run, which I do late because it's cooler. Like I find doing it during the daytime, like working out during the daytime is like it's crazy hot.
It's even just walking outside, like you sweat. It gets disgusting.
Yeah, I don't like humidity that much, so I find it better just to do my stuff outside.
Yeah,
later in the day. So
either
good that we did around this time. Yeah,
either first thing in the morning workout or late at night. Nothing in from like 10 a.m. to like 7 or 8. No, thank you.
It's pretty tough to do that. It's when it gets really hot out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How happy are you to be back in Ottawa now with COVID kind of still prominent as ever? Everything's just starting to open up a little bit easier than isolated out west in Olds.
Yeah, for sure. I really miss my family, being around them. Like my family is a really big part as far as like who I am as a person, like being around my uncles, my sister, my mom, like those are big pieces in my life.
Yeah.
So even being away for them for a month and isolated in Olds, because I know March was when it started happening.
Yeah.
And that's when classes started going online, and there was no basketball. Basketball season was over, and There was no weight room open, no nothing open. So me being out there by myself, it was like that was probably the longest and toughest month for me.
Did you live with people out there, or were you living on your own?
No, I lived with a roommate, but he was really like going to Calgary with his family most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even though you had a roommate, he kind of just left you to fend for yourself.
Yeah, he was in and out. Yeah.
Well, that's terrible. Like just left you high and dry to go with his family instead.
It's okay.
What a guy.
I had an uncle out in Calgary too, so it wasn't that bad.
Well, that makes it a bit easier, but still, like at the same time, like can't do anything. Like whenever you're inside, and Olds isn't that big.
Yeah.
And when everything's shut down, it's tough. Like I don't.
When there's no quarantine, Olds is pretty tough. Like as far as to find stuff to do. Like
that's true.
For me personally, like I'm not like really attracted to kind of like the rodeo kind of stuff that they got going on over there. Like I'm not a big rodeo guy.
That's fair.
So to me, it was even just hard initially. So when quarantine was involved, I was like, damn,
I was out in Calgary for 2 years, and I'm not a big rodeo stampede kind of guy. Yeah. I had to go once just
to see.
Just to say you've been to the stampede. Yeah. It's more just for the food than anything else.
Yeah.
And drink and, have some fun at the same time. But, no, I'm not never going to be a rodeo guy. It's not like for me.
Yeah, we had to do that for our basketball team as far as like helping out at a rodeo in Olds. It's called Oldstoberfest. Sounds very cheesy when I say it out loud.
Yeah, it does.
But, it's like we had to help on a volunteer for that.
Okay.
So we could get fundraising and stuff. So that was like my first time seeing one in person.
It's different when you see it for the first time. Like
it is different.
TV's one thing, and then you get there and you're right next to it, or you're watching it live. It's a lot different. Like we bet on the chuck wagon races. Like we just kind of had our own.
Yeah.
None of us really cared about it.
Yeah. Even being in the back, like with all the horses, like I'm not a big animal person. Like me, like I like animals, but I'm kind of scared of them because I find them like the most unpredictable beings. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to me, when I see horses, I'm like, let me just stay my distance. People go up to let me pet them. I'm like, no, it's not. That's not really my vibe.
Especially when they're bigger than you. Like if it's like a miniature horse, like that's fine. Like
it's okay.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna take on my knee. That's fine. Yeah. Like you're not gonna knock me over. Adult horse can back kick you and knock you over, and that
get the wind knocked out of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Anything smaller than me, like dogs, cats, rabbits, I'm all for.
Yeah.
Anything bigger than me, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll pass on that.
Yeah.
What ultimately led you to Olds in the first place? Before we kind of work your way, we're going to work our way through your career. You're 2 years at Olds, and then now at Nipissing, and what's ahead for you.
Mm-hmm.
But being from Ottawa, what ultimately led you to go to Olds in the first place?
Yeah, I could kind of bring it back to high school, like my last year of high school.
Okay.
I was playing well. I was improving my game. I think I made the biggest jump from grade 10 to 11. That's where I started getting really good as far as like focusing up, becoming a better player, all-around player. And just really like dedicating myself to the game.
Mm-hmm.
So grade 12, I found myself in a pretty tough spot because of my size and kind of my skill set. Like a lot of university schools, they'd look at the way I play and they wouldn't know if they would play me at a guard or a forward.
Okay.
But for them, it was like, I don't know where I should put this guy. And a lot of them was like, okay, well, if he's going to play the next level, he needs to get quicker. He needs to get experience too. So the biggest thing for me was like, okay, if I need to get experience, the best way I could get is probably I've seen a lot of my friends and players go from college then to university, and really universities are looking for maturity. Like that's the real big thing. They want to be able to know they're looking for leaders that they can rely on to build a winning culture, right? So that was a big thing. So leading me to Olds was like my last year I had no offers, like sustained offers on the table. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like how you talk to coaches and they send emails back and forth, but nothing's like planted out.
Yeah.
And I played for this program called Ottawa Phoenix.
Yep.
And really good AAU program in Ottawa, ran by Coach Waterman, one of the best coaches like I've ever played for.
Okay.
Great program. We play in the States a lot. So this guy named Charlie that used to play they used to be friends with one of the veterans named Mackenzie. He watched one of our tournaments at Gym Rat, which was in Albany, New York. Really big tournament. And he hit up one of his friends, Zach. I don't know if you know him, but he was our assistant coach initially for our first year.
Okay. Yep.
Till he kind of got kicked off, I guess. So you would say let go.
Yep.
But that's how it happened, basically, from Charlie to Zach. And Zach was my assistant coach. He was that guy that recruited me to Olds. And that's when I started to go to Olds and then see Mike Stevens. Mike Stevens didn't really recruit me initially.
Okay.
It was Zach, the assistant coach. He brought me, Jovan, Logan, Landon, us four together. He recruited us to Olds.
Okay.
And we made a pretty good impact our first year. For those 4 players to come as recruits, I think we made a pretty great impact.
Yeah, it was. You look at even the jump that you and Landon made going from year 1 to year 2, taking on bigger roles at the program, and yourself, you had over a 9-point per game jump from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah.
And how do you see yourself? How do you see how you developed over the last 2 years? Like you said, you needed to get, before we got on, you said quickness is one of the things you're working on going into year 3.
Yeah.
But from year 1 to year 2, what did you see in yourself that really changed and allowed you to be successful taking that leadership role?
Yeah, I think it was more about action. Just I think the big thing with me is whenever I'm a leader, I still even have trouble as far as taking a leadership role, because I think when I take leadership roles, I'm really keen on action. I think if you can't walk the walk,
That's
you
true.
can't really talk the talk, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm kind of more of I'm not so much a vocal leader. I believe if I lead by my actions, then when I raise my voice, it'll have more value to it,
Right.
in a sense. You know what I mean? But I think a problem with that was me not, as a leader, being able to I needed to build relationship with my players, with my teammates more. That's an issue I did have. So that's kind of the standard I hold myself up to. But from first to second year, really the big thing for me being as a leader is the off season. I felt like the amount of work I put in that summer was the most important. I believe, me personally, the favorite part for me as a player is the off season.
Yeah.
Because that's where you see okay, how did I improve from this part to this part? And it's kind of it's like holding a mirror to your face. To me, it's when you come back from the season and you go into training camp, you're oh, shit,
Yeah.
This is what's really happening. I did not improve in this area. Okay, now what can I do to get better? Now you got to push on for it. But the big thing for me was just from year 1 to year 2, making sure my old teammates that came back saw that I improved, and then to get on people, basically. Every practice trying to make sure that people knew through my actions that okay, this guy's serious. And that's where the leadership kind of grew from year 1 to year 2.
Kind of that lead by example, and you saw it. Yeah. I'm guessing you watched The Last Dance in your spare time at Olds. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Mike. He didn't ask his team to do anything he wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to do whatever it is that you're asking your teammates or everyone else to do. So if you try to lead and get them to do something you won't do, it's not going to work. It's going to backfire on you. But the off season, I think it's, like you said, it's your favorite time. And that's one of the ways, that's where you kind of separate the good players from the ones that want to be they're destined to be great.
Yeah.
Because they look themselves in the mirror and say, this is what I need to work on. Then they work on it. They don't just they're not just complacent with, okay, it was a decent year and we'll pick up next year, do the same thing.
Yeah.
And that training camp it shows the difference between the people who worked on it and those who didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah. And you could see it as far as when you walk into training camp, you could see just through your teammates and stuff like that. And I'm low key in my head, I'm okay, I gotta get after it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even the big part, I was excited to even return to Olds my second year, because after my first year, I was even planning to, okay, maybe I should take a year off, or maybe I should look at other schools. as far as like where I should go to next. I thought after my first year, I think I was like 12-7, which is pretty good for like I didn't that was like pretty good stats for my first year, which is not too bad, right? So I thought, maybe I could make that jump to university, but just the way the season went, I was like, I don't know. I don't really. I also wanted to end it with my diploma. I really wanted to get my diploma.
Right.
Finish my diploma. I felt like if I could transfer my courses into my degree at this university, it would make the transition very smooth. So the big thing was getting my diploma and playing with Cody was a big thing. We had Cody Bouchard on our team, which unfortunately got injured. But training camp, playing against him, I could genuinely feel myself getting better because that guy's a tough cover. He's a tough cover. Man.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. And like, it's a shame that I think he only played, was it 3 games before he got injured or something like that?
Yeah.
He barely got started again, and it's over like that.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of excitement with him coming back and kind of the pieces you guys had coming back and coming in, and fortunately didn't pan out the way I think you guys would have expected. But like you said, you wanted to go back and get your diploma. I'm assuming you've done that.
Yeah.
So the main student part of it, of the student athlete, was a success. And now you're making the jump to U Sports. Was that always a goal for you to play U Sports basketball at some point out of high school?
Yeah, for sure. I really wanted to make that jump as far as like going to high school to CIS, playing like high level basketball. That was like always like my far goal. Initially, I didn't start playing basketball seriously till like I was in like, I would like say grade 8 to grade 9. I started playing basketball when I was in grade 10. Played different sports.
Yeah.
But basketball like was really a sport that I loved, and I've always wanted to play like I just wanted to use it as a tool to like also pay off my education, like part of it in my education, which was pretty important to me. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to use it for.
That was actually, before we get into the rest of your time at Olds, that was one of the questions that came in on Instagram was, why did you choose basketball over the other sports? What other sports did you play?
I played a little bit of football, played soccer.
Okay.
Those are the other sports I mainly played. But I don't know. There's something. I played soccer most of the time. I played like football like 1 or 2 years in high school.
Okay.
I wasn't too bad at it, but the main sport that I don't know, basketball. There was just something to it. Like I remember my uncle introduced it to me, and it was like I'd say 2008, 2009. And I remember watching like the Lakers play the Celtics, watching Kobe those battles in the finals, and that's where it just really like it just caught my eye.
It's Kobe in his prime.
Yeah, against Rondo, the Celtics with Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, that squad, Kendrick, like that finals, like that's what brought the love to the game. I was like, okay. I really want to,
okay. So that makes sense. I mean, like when you see teams like that and like so strong on both sides, when you're that young too, and like you're so like impressionable, like you see something like that and you just get hooked. Like it's you can't really explain it. You just, when you know, and as cheesy as that sounds, saying it out loud too.
Yeah.
When you know basketball is for you, and then you try other sports and you see, but like when it's time to focus on, like you said, you wanted to find a way to kind of pay off some of your schooling, basketball was your ticket to do that. And at some point, I mean, everybody has to kind of rein everything in and focus on one sport or one discipline or whatever. Everybody has to go through it at some point. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And
I just, even watching Carmelo and Kobe face off in the Western Conference Final, I remember 2009. That was like that to me. That was the one that was distinctive because I always wanted the cornrows like Carmelo. I wanted to rock it like him. I just wanted like their fashion, their aesthetic. I don't know, just their swagger.
The cornrows with the headband and
baggy shorts. Baggy jersey, walking to the game, you know what I mean? So that kind of stuff was just like, impressionable, right?
Yeah, those baby blue Denver jerseys are nice.
Yeah, those
and
were
then
cool.
You get him with the cornrows and that bandana, like the headband.
Yeah.
He was cool. Denver Mello was something else. He was
for sure.
And
like still him doing it now after how many years he had off and come back with Portland before it shut down.
Yeah.
Like everybody said he could always play, and
Yeah.
all it took was someone to give him a shot. I hope that's the same with Kaepernick. I really do.
Yeah.
Because people have been saying he can play for, was it now, almost 4 years? Longer than that he's been out?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to sign him, please.
Yeah.
Like, have a mellow comeback and just pick up almost where he left off. Looking at your time at Olds, and with the Black Lives Matter movement and the fight against racial injustice, they posted a statement on Instagram. I think it was last week.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to let you kind of take the lead on that, because you shared your experiences at Olds as well, and then they were brought out other athletes from Olds as well.
Yeah.
Let you take that, I guess. I don't know how to transition into that.
No, it's cool. I just thought they posted a statement saying, I can repeat it out.
Go for it. Yep.
At Olds College, we honor diversity, inclusiveness, and equality. We believe everyone should be treated with dignity and respect. All staff, student, and faculty have a right to a learning and work environment that is free from harassment and discrimination. We denounce racism, hatred, and discrimination and in all of its forms. So, first thing, when I read that initially, I was pretty livid. I was mad as an individual because I didn't think that they understood the point of the statement and who it was targeting. Because when you look at Olds, majority it's a heavily white population, right? The minorities are Black community and Filipino indigenous community. Those are the three communities that I thought I saw were heavily involved. Indigenous and Black student athletes were the minority there, right? So when they put out that statement, they didn't mention either of those groups.
Yeah, it seemed generic,
it was a very vague statement.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It was something that it was said just to cover up. Okay, let's just say this, so we're on track and people just can move on.
Yeah,
it
seemed like say something to say you've said something.
Exactly.
And it didn't acknowledge any certain any group of people or any minority. It was just a blanket kind of statement. And at that point, at least in my opinion, it's almost better to say nothing and educate yourself than put a blanket statement out and fan the fire and make it worse.
Yeah. And the thing that got me, the reason why I was frustrated is because out of my 2 years there, they did not mention racism once. The head office, athletics, out of my 2 years there was no mention of resources that could help out minority student athletes if they encountered racism. Right?
I think there's a lot of schools actually probably in that boat, and they came out with McMaster yesterday. A football player came out and said they had a meeting with athletic directors and they didn't show. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're seeing that lack of resources becoming evident all over. Yeah. But the fact that you went 2 years without a mention.
Yeah, that was the part
that's
that
crazy.
Really that was the part that really got me mad, because the 2 years, we had player orientation, a bunch of events where athletes are together, and this is the time where you can mention the problems and identify them, right, to your players, to let them know, okay, we're here for support. If there's any problems associated with you as a player, any things that you encounter as a player in the community, you can let us know. But out of my 2 years there was no mention of racism towards your players. And now, since the killing of George Floyd has happened a month later, now you put out a statement saying da 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 da, and it's vague, no meaning, no depth. And the college did reply back to me. They put a comment saying, let's talk. And I did. Initially, I was like, I'm not going to talk to them. I've already held them accountable. My point of that post was, I'm going to hold these people accountable, because I know the other athletes, I texted my other athletes, the other black athletes.
Yep.
Okay, I texted Britt and Brandy.
Yep.
Tebow, the two like good friends of mine. I'd say I texted Tavon as well.
Yep.
To see what they thought, and Britt posted on her story. She thought it was like it was some BS as well. So I already knew I had their support. So I just wanted to see from their opinion what it looked like. But when I talked to them, I'd have to say that when I did talk to them, I did have a meeting with Trina Radcliffe and Peter Mall, the VP of the school, and the response to it was held properly.
Okay.
I'd have to give respect to them in that aspect where they did listen to my voice and opinions, because I did not only want to hold them accountable, but also put next steps on how we could find solutions, right? Because the first way you need to solve this problem. Sorry if I'm cutting you off.
No, go for it. No, just you take the lead.
But I think the first thing we need to do for them to do is they need to identify that there's an issue. Like I said, out of my 2 years there, they didn't even identify there was an issue. So next time you encounter with your players, you need to say, okay, there is an issue in Olds. Let's identify it. Then secondly, you need to put out resources for students, minority students, for them to understand that they have a support system around them. Meaning that faculty members, I told them that I didn't see like a black faculty member there, which to me, I did see some Indigenous, but to me, it was like, even if you put out a resource for me to talk to, like counselors, they did have counselors, but it wasn't specific to racism that I encountered. So to me, it's hard to talk to, let's say, a white counselor, because maybe they don't know what I'm going through. You know what I mean?
That's true.
They don't have the same experiences, right? So I just let that be known. Like, in order for you to move forward, you need to have resources for students, for people that they can relate to, social gatherings within other minority student athletes, so they could talk to one another. And lastly, I basically said, I was going off. I just completely forgot what I was about to say.
It's all right.
I got so distracted. I was gonna say, you need to. I actually completely lost my train of thought.
It's all right. If it comes back to it, we'll just jump right back to it.
But no, it was just kind of like those kind of thoughts of identifying the issue. Here I found it. It was basically my third point was making sure that racism is not gonna go away in the community. Right? Like, even if you set up all these plans, so you have to teach visible minority students, Black and Indigenous groups, how to deal with these encounterments, right? Because you're putting your players at danger when they face these situations. You got to teach them what to do to stay safe, because these are moms and fathers, daughters and sons, possibly leaving campus miles away. They don't know what's going on. Their parents can't protect them, right? So it's your job now. It's under the college's responsibility to keep their players safe. When a Black or an Indigenous person is pulled over by the police near the campus or in Olds, you got to teach them how to react, how to respond. And I know every Black parent has had this. I know I've had this talk with my mom on how to deal with police officers in the past to make sure to be as safe as possible. So I think having this talk, it's uncomfortable. Having this talk with your students on how to stay safe in these scenarios. Like I said, Oldstoberfest was a big one too. That was like, at the rodeo that was an event that I faced, was like a bunch of shouting from all directions. It was that one was,
holy jeez,
like that kind of stuff was like, you got to be careful, right? And people say Olds is a really like welcoming community and stuff like that, and I just found it like somewhat different from my perspective. Like I found it just from my view, like there was moments where I was like, I don't even want to play for this college anymore, because why would I play for a college where the community doesn't even show what people like, how I look like, or even me respect? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think too, like, even if they have those resources available, they need to make people aware that they are available. Like, they need to, like you said, it's good. It's uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable, but that's how you learn. Like, you don't learn by being comfortable. You don't learn by doing the same thing you've always done. And I think that goes for everybody, like across the board. Like, we need to be uncomfortable and have conversations like this where we can understand more, My parents never had a conversation with me about how to act or how to be safe when a cop pulls you over. I have no idea what that's like, and I'm not even going to try and say, "Oh, I know how you feel." I have no idea. And to me, minority parents shouldn't have to have that conversation. Like it should be equal. Like and we're gonna have to have a lot of those tough conversations to get things where they should be.
Yeah, and I think it's sorry.
And it's all about like turning those words into action.
Yeah,
like you can't just share a couple posts on your social media page, say you support it, and then move on like nothing happened. It's not. It doesn't. You can't sweep it under the rug like that. It's been saying it for since COVID hit, and then the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and the list goes on and on. It sickens me that the list just keeps growing. But 2020 is the year we needed to have to get things equal, and it's going to be an uncomfortable year. It's going to be an uncomfortable learning, however long it takes. It needs to be uncomfortable until we get it to where it needs to be.
Yeah, and I just think the view in racism in Canada is like, yeah, we don't have it as bad as the States. Everything's good. Like, at least we don't have Trump as our president. Like, to me, I'm not taking that, because even in Ottawa 4 years ago, there's a man by the name of Abdirahman Abdi.
Okay.
Is a young man that was killed by police officers 4 years ago, and the case is still ongoing. And these officers are still getting paid due. And he was a black man that faced mental illness, going on a walk beside like a Starbucks near Bridgehead, and got pulled over a call. And they just, after the call, they accused him of not restraining arrest. But it was just, to me, like, this kind of stuff, when people go on protests for kind of George Floyd and deny that there's an issue going on in Canada. And to me, there was a protest for George Floyd in Ottawa.
Yep. A
lot of people attended. But I didn't want to go, me personally. A problem, some of it was due to COVID, which was, I found kind of frightening, because I see my grandma pretty often too. And she was really important to me, so I don't really want to do that to her, but do anything, risk anything for her as far as her safety. But the big problem for me was the chief of police was attending, and the prime minister did come to the protest. And to me, when I see people of power, politicians, police officers taking a knee, to me, it doesn't do anything, because there's a case going on in their city that they can make a difference for. But instead, they're kind of doing it for publicity, to seem like they're taking action. But underneath that kind of BS is like, you're not taking action on what's in front of you. You're just kind of taking a need to say, I'm with you, I hear you. But if you do, like, take action through the systems, you know what I mean? Take action, take this to court, mention it through media. Because he's mentioned a lot, Prime Minister Trudeau has mentioned a lot about George Floyd, but he hasn't mentioned constantly about Abdirahman Abdi. He hasn't mentioned different Black and Indigenous people getting, racially profiled, assaulted, killed by police officers in Canada. He's not as strong about that. It's very easy to mention problems going on in another country, but can you hold your own country accountable? I don't think you know what I mean? He hasn't done that.
You gotta look yourself in the mirror a bit. It's easy to criticize someone else for doing something wrong. You do the same thing. You gotta look in that mirror and say, we have the same problem. And like you saw the RCMP out east, they was a couple, I don't know how many it was, but Indigenous people were shot by police in the last couple weeks. And like, there was a video on Facebook. It was a guy in the States. He left a Western Union, wasn't doing anything wrong. Black individual, stopped by a cop, cooperated fully, gave him his ID, told him where he was, what he was doing. Cop came behind him, grabbed his arm, and as soon as he moved once, guy grabbed him, slammed him on the ground. And it was all in response to a call of suspicious activity. And the body cam picked up the cop who had the ID and says, "Oh, we have the wrong guy." And he's like, "Oh no, like you can't." Like, you have his ID, you know what his name is. Yet you slammed him on the ground, broke his ribs, and now like you can't I just can't like get. I don't know what goes through their minds. I really don't get it.
Like, to me, it's like even slight actions that it'll do to like put them on a power trip, I guess.
Right.
Because I know even I was with some friends going to Calgary,
Mhm.
and they rented a car.
Mhm.
It was just three other my black friends, and we got pulled over by the police, saying that they're on suspicion of like they were on suspicion that there was a swerving of our car on the highway, and then they switched it up to saying that there was a reported stolen of a stolen vehicle, and we had to
Of
wait
course.
at their police car while they searched the car, which was like, to me, that was infuriating. You know what I mean? So it's not
Yeah.
even, it doesn't necessarily have to be assault, police brutality. It's just
No.
like injustice. What do you mean? It's that type of sneaky stuff that goes on that it's not equal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the thing that everyone's fighting for. It's not like it's obviously the police brutality is the stuff that you see the media covers, but it's just those little nuances, like the little comments, the little like cops pulling you over for 3 different reasons they make up, that fetching at straws. It's just even like the little looks that people give you, like the double takes, and
That's the big stuff in Olds.
you go you go shopping in a mall and you're the one they focus on.
Yeah.
Like those are the things that you see every day.
Yeah.
And that's what the big fight is for. Obviously Black Lives Matter and the police brutality is all you see, but there's so much more to it than that. And like I've said it a few times on this, like I was always raised like treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
I would never want to have that happen. Like you get pulled over because you're driving to Calgary, like you're not doing anything, and they pull you over and make up. They fetch at straws until they find anything that they can hold on you and pin to you.
Yeah.
Like heaven forbid that role was switched and they were in that car.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. I could talk about this all day, so I'm just gonna like try to keep it, sustained right now. But I just really wanted to speak on that.
No,
as far as,
and I think
on that post,
And I think that's a big thing. Like we have to hold everybody accountable. Like you're going to see if there's posts like that are vague, that don't really address the problem and almost fuel the fire of the problem, call it out.
Yeah.
And like I haven't posted a statement like that because I'm forcing myself to have those conversations and learn and read and understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Because words don't do anything unless you put them into action. And I can't. I'm a white male that grew up in southwestern Ontario. I have no clue what any of that remotely feels like. So why am I going to try and put a blanket statement out there that's empty? The bigger impact I can have is conversations like this, understand what's going on, read, research, watch, have the conversations, sign petitions, whatever I can do will have a far bigger impact than a social media post and then, oh, I'm done. Hey, hands clean. No. It's far deeper than that. It's far bigger than that. It's uncomfortable, yes. But is it needed? 100%. And I'll have those conversations all day, every day.
You nailed it on the pin. Got it. Yeah.
All day, every day, even after we get somewhere close to equality. If you stop having them, it's going to go right back to where it was.
Yeah.
Got to keep having them, keep growing together as a society. There's always going to be your bad apples.
Yeah.
You can do what you can to try and change them.
Yeah.
I don't know. We should be so much farther along than we are.
Yeah.
It's been 400 years longer. We're nowhere near where we should be. It's 2020.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
To me, it's just kind of crazy. Yeah.
but hey, we got to hold each other accountable. Like,
Yeah.
if I see it, call it out. And
sure.
if I make a mistake, because I probably will, if I say something the wrong way, trying to understand it, call me out. Say, this is what you said. This is how you should have said it. Okay, that's how I learn. Like, I'm gonna like
Understand next time for the better.
exactly, and like own up to it. Understand where you went wrong, what happened, explain why you said what you did, and then everybody understands. It's conversation.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to go violent. Doesn't need to go anywhere else other than two people having a conversation. That's how you learn.
Yeah. And just like in Olds, it was kind of that, like underlying stuff, just like kind of stares, like, whispers under their breath kind of stuff. And I really want Olds to understand when that situation comes up, like listen to the athlete that's facing it.
Yep.
Because when those situations came up, I couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna look like the person that instigated, because I'm the bigger person. I'm the black male. If a white person says, yeah, he did it, it's there. I always came into the situation believing that Olds would not have my back in this scenario because they never mentioned this issue up.
Yeah.
Right. So whenever I face this issue, if I confronted them, I couldn't. There was no way I could just kind of respond, because then I would be kicked off the team, and it would actually every movement, every choice I made was not based off emotion. It was based off intuition, and like I had to think about the decision I was making.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm gonna do something, and then I'm like, okay, let's think this through. Who has more to lose here? Some wasted guy on the side, or is it me that actually has a future? You know what I mean? So
right, and like little things that it starts with more minority faculty that you can talk to, like have a minority counselor, or just make those resources readily available, and so everybody knows that they're there. If you have them but nobody knows, you don't have them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if people don't know they're there, someone's sitting in an office for 8 hours getting paid to just twiddle their thumbs and exactly, do whatever they want. And in reality, there's so many student athletes and students in general that could use them.
Yeah.
Yet they can't if they don't know they're there. So make them readily available. Make sure everybody knows about them. Work them into orientations, student handbooks, on the website, wherever. We're going to hopefully we see some of these changes come through. Because like now that I'm thinking about it too, like where I work, there's Indigenous, because we're on native land.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of like the Indigenous Student Center, I'm drawing a blank to think of others.
Yeah.
And like, that can't happen. It's 2020 again. Like, catch up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Looking at Nipissing now, much closer to home, much closer to family, much closer to a lot more options to do if you get shut down.
Yeah.
Question came in. I was going to ask it anyways, but came in on Instagram. Why Nipissing?
That's a good question. I just felt like Nipissing. I was talking Shannon and Quinton. There's two guards that play there, Shannon and Quinton. They're twins that I played with. I'm a little bit. They're in when I were in grade 12, I was in grade 10.
Okay.
So I played up with them when I played. We played competitive together.
Okay.
And I was actually at the tournament where they got recruited to Nipissing.
Oh, okay.
They were balling. So I was at that tournament.
Yep.
So I'm pretty close with those two guys as far as like seeing them like go to the university level, give me advice on stuff. So kind of that part was always in the works, kind of like passing the torch. Yeah. Because this year is going to be the last year.
Yeah.
So like for them to like also like put in a good word to the coach means a lot. Also, talking to Thomas Corey, the head coach, like to me, I got like good vibes from him.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like a genuine person. Talk to me. He wasn't like, it was no BS when he was saying, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna promise you anything. You got to work hard. You got to earn it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the stuff you want to hear from the coach. If I'm listening to coaches, I don't want to hear that you're guaranteed this many minutes.
Because you're never guaranteed that.
That's I don't want to hear that to me, because I was also talking to other schools like out west, like for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have 2 other offers. I'm not going to say specifically who.
That's fine.
But yeah, but those are the main option for those two other schools was because I wanted to be near kind of my friends that were in Olds and Calgary.
Right.
That was the main reason. That was kind of my thought process. Like I could be near my friends because, they've also played a big role in how I've been able to live in Olds and that other transition of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But Nipissing was just a good choice because I was closer to home. Instead of a 4-hour flight, it's a 4-hour drive.
Right. Much easier.
Yeah, much easier.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah. Closer to, good friends that I know on the team, two pretty good guys that I know, good coach, good facility.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of a better situation.
That's, again, a coach, you want a straight shooter. You want to know exactly where you stand, exactly what you're going to get, because they expect the same from you. They don't want any of the fluff or the nonsense. Like, you want that from them, they want that from you. And if you guys have that conversation now already, like you said, he seems like a genuine guy who just tells you how it is.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
And that to me, I wanted to play that because that conference is tough. That OUA conference is like, it's, to me, I was thinking of the West. It was like, it's a good conference, but the OUA conference is known for being the best competition. So I knew it was going to be out of my comfort zone compared to the ACAC. Yep. So I knew like the only way to get better is to kind of get out of that kind of comfort zone that I was in. So I knew that playing in that conference, I was going to be playing the best, most athletic, skilled players in Canada. Carleton, Ottawa U, all this stuff.
Like, it's like top to bottom. Like, the league is always so talented. Like, you're in the East now. So, yeah, Carleton, Ottawa, Laurentian, Queens, and Ontario Tech.
Yeah.
4 of those teams were 14-8 or better.
Yeah.
Nipissing 8-14, Ontario Tech 1-21 first year program. They're going to have their struggles. Top to bottom, like, that is by far the toughest division. Like, you get to play Carleton, who's had 15 national titles in 18 years. Yeah. Like, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
And like, you want to challenge yourself to grow. Like, that's why you were excited to have Cody Bouchard back this year. When you play people of that caliber and that talent, it makes you better.
Yeah.
And knowing that you're going to have games against them twice a year or more, you got to bring your best every night. It's going to force you to put in that work in the summer to work on what you want to and be ready for when these games roll around. Because if you're not, they're just going to run over you. Like, it's disgusting how Carleton just reloads every year.
Yeah, like the Twins were telling me how like prepared that conference is. Like, you slack off like a couple. It's a game of runs, and if you slack off against you guys, like they'll make you pay. But even playing with Cody, like not only playing against him at practice, but also because he was my roommate too.
Okay.
My first semester, so with another teammate, close teammate I'm with is Mohamed Al Tassi. So those 2 players, like, I'm really close with as far as like friends. And it's funny because they're like 28, 27 years old, and I'm like 20. But I still consider them some of my closest friends. Like, we'll argue, and they'll talk about how like, oh, like these car payments I got to deal with. I'm like, man, I'm not even at that stage in my life yet. Like, come on, bro.
all the adult responsibilities that you don't have to deal with yet.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not even at that stage yet. You know what I mean? But even just like training with Cody, like our schedule together was like workout, shoot, after practice, shoot 25 free throws, talk about what he saw. We'd watch film, talk about what he saw on this play, go through stuff. What's his mindset on taking this pull up instead of the drive?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What did he read on this pick and roll when the help defender came in too quickly? How did he make that skip pass? So even just dissecting his brain as far as like how he scores and what he sees is like, that's what I got the most out of it.
What can fans of Nipissing expect from you? Obviously, this year is kind of up in the air still. Like we're January, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you guys get back to the court, what can Nipissing fans expect from you as a player?
They could expect that I'm a hard worker. I'll defend hard, try to hit the glass. Pretty physical guy. They're not going to expect no flashy plays from me, I don't think. Not the flashiest guy. Draw a lot of fouls.
Okay.
Just like an overall kind of rough kind of player.
Yeah.
Trying to smooth out my game too. But even when I played at Olds, like I'd average like 8 to 10 free throws. Like a lot of my scoring wasn't smooth. It was kind of like get hit, take the contact, get to the free throw line, hit my free throws. I think that's the best way, especially like games where my shot's not falling as far as like as smooth as I want it to be. Best way to get even my shot and my game in the rhythm is get contact, build your confidence, get to the free throw line. You know what I mean? So they could expect like a lot of like toughness and kind of bring that toughness to the team as far as when it comes to games.
Reach into the bag of tricks and shots not going, then you go to the drive and contact and free throws and kind of get your confidence, get your rhythm going, and hope everything else falls into place. And if it doesn't, like as long as it works, like who cares how good it looks? As long as you get the job done, like nobody cares.
Yeah, and like sometimes I'd look like my coach would laugh at me. My assistant coach would laugh at me. He's like, I'd have an open lane, but I'd look for contact. Like the guy would be across from the key, but I'd go into him and like shoot a reverse. And he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying to look for a foul. I'm trying to get this and one." You know what I mean? But sometimes you just gotta like take the easy look. So
yeah, but it's not as fun sometimes. Like an easy layup is too easy.
To me, getting an and one is better than the 3-pointer. Like to me, that feeling of like I'm stronger. Like I don't know how to describe it, but you just feel like you're a big guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You could be the smallest guy on the floor. If you get that and one, like you feel like you're 7'2".
Exactly.
Like
and you got that time to celebrate between that and one and your free throw. You hit a 3, you gotta get back. You gotta
hustle. You gotta hustle.
I talk to Ben about this all the time. He's like, hitting a 3 is way better. I'm like, of course he say that. You shoot like 5 a game. Come on, man.
He's a 3-point shooter. That's what he wants to do. Like I mean, that's what you got to get him working out a bit more, get him taking contact, and have him see how both go, and then ask him again. Get him into the gym, get him a second year, and make him drive. Tell him to drive more. See what happens.
I make fun of his defense most of the time.
Is it a liability?
No. Well, watch Synergy Sports. You know Synergy, right?
Yep.
So it'll list you, your offense is good. It'll say like your shots.
Yeah.
We go to Ben's like, look at this. My offense is great. Look, it's good. It's good. It's good. I'm like, okay, let's go to defense. Let's see what it says. I see zone defense. I'm like, okay, average. Okay. We go to man. It says, come on, poor. I'm like, come on, Ben. What is this? I click the clips. Yeah. He's working on help defense. He's doing turns. I'm like, man, what is this? We just make fun. Like we just make fun of him. And we could go down the line. Like if you look at my turnovers, players make fun of me. So it's like it's not only him that gets roasted. You gotta. Be
everybody gets it.
You got to be able to take and feed it.
Oh, for sure. If you give it out, you got to be able to take it.
Yeah, and my coach Mike he would let me know before like a game, especially with our record. Oh my God, that was. So, like, even before a game, let's say after a bad game, he'd review film. He's like, I'm going to be honest with you, Muktar. Like, even though you're, like, playing hard tonight, I'm going to get on you because you're one of the leaders. So, like, in the meeting, he just tear me apart sometimes. I'm like, you got to be able to – especially as a leader, you just got to be able to take it so the other players are able to.
Yeah, you got to have a bit of a thicker skin and just kind of take it with a grain of salt and away you go.
Yeah.
What are your goals for year 3? First one at Nipissing.
I wanna be able to like make the playoffs. I think that's the main goal for me. I just kind of it really took a lot out of me my second year at Olds because I felt like I regressed as far as a team.
Yeah.
We go from 6 and something 6 and whatever. I don't know. I remember we won like 6 games, and then we
Yeah.
went to 1-20. So like to
Yeah.
me, that was heart wrenching to me. Because I felt like we took a step back instead of a step forward. And the games, the way we were losing them was even more heart wrenching to me because it was like it was just a really bad season in that perspective.
Okay.
So I really want to be, and I felt like it hurt me the most because I was a leader, and a part of me was like I had to hold accountability to that. Like it was my responsibility too.
All right.
So I just want to be a part of the equation of a winning program. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
My goal next year is just to be a part of a winning program. Doesn't mean I could start, come off the bench, whatever you need me to. I just want to be a part of a winning program. Like I'll do whatever is necessary. Just like I'm actually past the point where in high school you should worry about your stats. Like,
Yeah.
look at me, like I made the all-star team for high school.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm cool. Like I'm saying, like I'm kind of past that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like even my first year, I was like, when I got that, my friends were hitting me up after I got that offensive rebound record, which was I just kept on missing my layups, getting them back. I was doing that Moses Malone stuff, you know. I just kept missing, getting them back.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, man, I feel good. And then we still lost the game, right? And I saw my free throws. I'm like, damn, I did not shoot well. So just kind of like holding myself accountable.
Yeah.
And I just want to be part of a winning program no matter what. I'm at that point in like I just want to win. Like I genuinely. Yeah. Just
find your role and do what you're asked and be ready to go when your name's called, but just work towards that collective, let's make the playoffs and see what happens kind of scenario.
Exactly.
Some more questions that came off Instagram. Mm-hmm. Favorite teammate at Olds?
That's a good one. Because I could say that I can name you someone like especially my second year. Mm-hmm. My first year actually, Mohamed Al-Tassi is like one of my I could say genuinely one of my closest friends on and off the court. Like right now he's in Calgary and we'll still text each other every day. Yeah. We call each other up saying what's up, like what are you doing next year? What are your plans? Yeah. So he's a big one from year 1 to year 2, especially being like one of the only Muslim guys on the team. I was like, is there anybody else that's Muslim on the team? And then I saw Muhammad. I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. No doubt in my mind. So we'd go to Friday prayers like before games.
Oh, okay.
So we go together, and that's where we really he'd drive me out to Airdrie, and we go to Friday prayer. You know, really good guy through and through. Like one of the guys that really led me. He showed me around through the ACAC. He's like, you're from Ontario? Okay, I'm going to show you what Alberta basketball is like. I'm going to tell you the best teams. See, it's really good. He told me everything about the league. He said, you could be really good. You just got to make sure you stay focused. He was like the one that really put me under his wing. So I'd say Mo's like a really good teammate of mine. And throughout my second year, I got to build a relationship with Cody. Tavon was a really good friend of mine, and Colton. So those are the main like 4 guys I'd probably say that I'm really close to.
That's valid. I'll tell you off the record who asked afterwards. I'm not telling you now. It'll let you sweat it out a bit more.
You could tell me that.
What keeps you motivated? That's another one that came through.
That's a good question because I think motivation is used for like the first – when you start up something new, when you have a task or a goal at hand, it's used for like the first 2 weeks of it. Then it goes away, and that's where discipline kind of sets in. So I don't like what motivates me is like my family, big motivation. Like I can say for sure, like I was raised by my mom, and my sister. Like those are the two main people in my household. Like my dad was really never in my life, so my mom worked like really hard to not only provide for us as a family, but she also helped out for our extended family. So watching her grind every day, like from where she was to where she is right now, it's like, to me, it's incredible in my eyes. So to me, she's my hero. So watching her work that hard is like, it's really, to me, it really puts like things in perspective. And also my sister's like a really genuine, kind person. So just wanting to build a better future for my family, my extended family, for the community in Ottawa. It's like, to me, that's pretty important. So what motivates me is just becoming a better person as an individual and helping others around me.
That's That's valid. And, like, you see when you grow up and you see your mom working that hard,
Yeah.
and when you become older in like situations now, it's hard to even allow yourself not to work as hard because she
Yeah.
put so much into getting you to where you are now. It's disrespectful almost to her to not work hard at what you do because of the work she put in to get you where you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Favorite high school basketball memory?
Favorite? That's a good one.
I told you off the top. Some of these are
Right?
hard
That's
hitting.
a
Like
good
these are
question. Favorite basketball?
deep.
Man, I think going undefeated during the regular season, my grade 11 year.
Okay.
I can't say specifically a memory I had.
Yeah.
If I had to pinpoint a specific memory, it would be like my last year. I had a pretty good game against this like Toronto team. Like it was in a tournament, like Saturday morning. Nobody was really in the gym,
Right.
but I scored like 47 points that game. Like I
Okay.
was pretty determined to go off that game. So that was a big game for me. That game, I was like, I don't know what happened to me, but I was hitting everything that game. I don't know. I don't know.
You find another level, and
I guess that game I was pretty mad because we lost against our rivals the game before against St. Pete's.
Okay.
And I was just like, the next game, whoever we play, some random team from like Hamilton. I'm like, bro, I'm tearing them apart. Somebody has to pay for the way we lost last time because we lost on like a buzzer. So.
Did you guys win the game? You had 47?
Yeah.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
When you said you lost, I was like, you don't say you lost that game. And then you said you lost the night before. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid you go for 47 and lose.
But, that was my specific memory. But my like overall year memory was for sure my grade 11 year because we had like a team that year.
Okay.
I'd also say like attending like the All-Star games. As far as like a student, like being honored to be picked in the All-Star games,
right? Yeah,
like it's pretty cool.
As a high school athlete, that's big to be like picked among like the city's best. Like that's something to hang your hat on for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Where did the nickname Mugnasty come from?
Oh my God, I did not expect that. Okay, well, Muck Nasty. That's actually funny. I have a gaming channel on Twitch called Muck Nasty Gaming. So just a little promo. You know what I mean?
We'll link it down below. We'll plug it.
Sounds good. But no, there's this guy named Paul. I played with him at Sir Will, like a really good player. And he's like one day I had a practice where I was playing well. He's like, man, that was a nasty move. I'm gonna start calling you Muck Nasty. So that kind of got a ring to it. I said, like, I'm nasty on the court. Like, so like sometimes my friends, like my good friends, sometimes they just call me that. Okay. But it was just like, it's not that serious. Like they won't call me that, like, yo, like, look, no, it's just like kind of as a joke.
Just a kind of inside joke, kind of for fun thing.
Yeah, for fun. Yeah.
What games do you play on your channel?
I play Call of Duty, mostly 2K. Like I'll play 2K with my friends.
Okay.
But it's mostly Call of Duty, 2K. Sometimes I play GTA, but it's mostly like online gameplay with my friends, just joking around.
Who's your team of choice for 2K?
Damn, I like because me, Tavon, and Colton would just like, I'd usually whenever after a game I'd like come over to their spot.
Yep.
Because they got that good furniture, that good TV, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
As a college student, if you got those things, like, people understand.
That's the place to be. That is the place to be.
That's the place to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they had the whole spot, like, they had nice tables. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go there. We'd go there constantly and play 2K all night, but we'd play, like, with the all-time teams.
Okay.
We never played current teams.
Okay, so that's fair.
We do randoms. All-time Lakers is so, like, it's the most cheese team, like, you could ever – it's, like, Magic at the 1, Kobe at the 2.
That's gross.
I think Elgin. I think they put Jerry West at the 2, Kobe at the 3, Kareem at the 4, Shaq at the 5.
That's disgusting.
That's disgusting. And so sometimes I'd put Kobe at the 2, and then I'd put like James Worthy at the 3 as my starting lineup.
So many options. So
Elgin Baylor coming off the bench, like
So are you a Lakers guy then? Who's your NBA team?
Damn, I don't know. Like, I know it sounds kind of stupid. I don't really have an NBA team.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, like I can't say I love the Raptors. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like a diehard Raptors fan. I'm not
No.
gonna act like I'm. I love LeBron, me personally. So
Okay.
every time people like make jokes like, yeah, they won because like even if LeBron was there this year, they would have like last year they would have won. I'm like, come on, man, stop playing. LeBron has owned the Raptors every time he's faced them
Yeah.
in the round of the playoffs. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he has.
Like to me, just I'm like a huge LeBron fan. So I'm mostly fan of players like when him and AD squatted up together, I was an AD fan too, which was
Mhm.
pretty dope. So I like those type of players. You know what I mean?
Okay. That's fair. What's next for you? Like, what's the end goal for you after school's done? Is it pursue basketball somewhere else?
Mhm.
Something completely different? What's
Mhm.
next for you after wherever this ends up?
Yeah, I think for me as a goal, like I've never had playing basketball. I never had the intention of going pro. Like that wasn't really my mindset.
Okay.
I've always just wanted to play university and see where it got me. But I feel like I'm at the point where I see myself improving, like especially making that jump from first year to second year.
Mm-hmm.
It was like to me, I was like, okay, maybe I could play at the next level even after this. And I have like 3 more years to play at the OUA, like years of eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I just want to see if I'm at that level, and if I feel like I could compete with those guys, I want to pursue the trail way of going pro. But to me, I think getting my business administration degree and
Mm-hmm.
like using it for maybe working for like doing work in international business for corporations,
Okay.
especially with basketball, like
Yeah.
maybe getting out with shoe companies, like being a sponsor for them as far as like getting it to different companies.
Hey. Yeah.
To me, that would be cool. Like involving basketball and business intertwined,
Mm-hmm.
and like kind of getting out to like other countries that are not as well educated in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be really like dope for me.
Yeah. And now with pro leagues too, like the CEBL is now in Ottawa too, so it's right in your backyard. Like who knows? And with their connection to U Sports, hopefully the league lasts that long. Like I'm still kind of skeptical. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have enough info to even really comment on that stuff.
yeah,
Like as far as the CEBL, because
I probably don't either.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So
But
I
I
just
mean,
want to see how it looks.
4 teams in Ontario, and then you have Saskatchewan, Edmonton, BC.
Yeah,
That's a lot of travel
yeah,
for 7 teams. And I mean, they've gone about it the right way with Canada basketball and FIBA and everything else, but those expenses are high. They have to be.
yeah.
And I don't think they sell out.
Mm-hmm.
So something's got to give here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hopeful, yet skeptical at the same time. Like, it's tough. Like the NBL Canada, it's struggling.
Yeah.
Always has.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like, I don't know how professional basketball can live in Canada, but hopefully they find a way, I think, because there's a ton of talent.
Especially, like at the worst time during a pandemic, it's just like I don't know. It's pretty tough. So we'll see. Only time will tell. You know what I mean?
They're doing like a 9-day series in Niagara for kind of like NBA's in Orlando, which I mean, it is what it is. No fans, obviously. So how are you going to have a second-year league run with no fans and revenue? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. I don't have all the info. I'm just, probably stirring the pot for whatever. But last word, I'll leave it to you. Anything we missed that you want to shed light on that we didn't bring up?
No, I think we covered everything pretty well. I appreciate you having me on the podcast. Honored to be here. Had some fun. So I think everything went well.
I appreciate you taking time to be on, and again, like putting a voice to your story and holding people accountable. It's the big thing. If you take away anything from this, put your words into action, hold people accountable, and have those tough conversations.
Yeah.
Because that's how you learn and grow.
Sure. Yeah.
But anytime you want to do this again, let me know. We'll make it happen. I'll always have a spot here for you.
Appreciate it.